We're all living in a world gone geek. It's time to geek hard or go home. The website is fake, but the podcast is real. Here's your host, Grounded Geek.
Hello, and welcome, friends, to the official podcast of World Gone Geek, the podcast network disguised as a pop culture parody satire site. That's right, the website is fake. The podcast, it's real. I'm your host, Jeff, a.k.a. Grounded Geek, and this is our second episode. We made it to another episode. It wasn't just a one-shot silly dream idea that I had and then didn't see through. Here we are, second episode. So it's at least a two-shot silly dream idea that I won't see through, but we made it. We made it here. You made it, listeners. You guys are with us. The podcast really is real. We're about to take a look at some top stories this week, but first, let's meet our illustrious panel Gone Geek today. Back with us, direct from his quarantine world ukulele tour of YouTube and Facebook. It's Utah and the Uke, Utah Shoe. Hey, Utah.
Greetings, my excellent friends. How is everybody?
I have a question for you this week. This is your icebreaker question for today.
Okay.
If you were a professional wrestler, what would be your entrance theme song?
Oh, that's a good one. I had never thought of that. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. You know, I
know I put you on the spot.
Yeah, that's like, gosh, because I want to like dive into like the Nintendo Super Mario world, world of music, but then for some reason, Aha's Take on Me is playing through my head. And so I guess I'll go with Aha's Take on Me.
Okay. So it's kind of like the challenge Take on Me.
That's right. That's
Get in
exactly
the ring
right.
and take me on.
Yes. I'll actually enter the ring with like a keytar going.
There we go. Awesome. All right. And our very special guest today, not that Utah isn't special, but you've probably seen him at a convention near you. He's come to be one of the most requested cosplay guests around the world, literally the world, and yet one of the most down-to-earth, real people I know. Please welcome the incomparable Michael Knightmage Wilson. Welcome to the show.
Oh, that intro, man. That was amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, you know, I'm a big fan. Utah's a big fan. The World Gone Geek, the whole World Gone Geek family, which again is just me and Utah, but we're big fans.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
So we're really glad that you're here. But same question. I know you're a WWE guy. Like you're a go to WrestleMania guy. You like tailgate. You do the whole 9 yards, right?
Yeah.
So you probably already have put a lot of thought into this. You probably like planned your whole wrestling career.
You've got this in your head already, don't you?
I actually have it. When I was younger, I wanted to be a wrestler. So thinking about, all right, my entrance theme, man, like
right.
It's tough.
Now I'm stuck. You know what? I don't know why. This is the first thing that popped in my head. The touch from
nice from the Transformers movie.
Yeah.
Now I wish that was the one I was going to say. Now
that's
like the first thing. Oh my god,
that's brilliant.
So actually, probably like any song from that soundtrack. I don't care.
That's awesome.
That's true. Yes.
That would be great. Now, so follow-up question. This was not written down. What would your wrestler like name and identity be? Would it be Knightmage or would you be
Oh no.
You'd come up with something new?
I would come up with something new. More likely, my gimmick would probably be something comedic. Like, it would just be something off the wall. Like, one of my favorite wrestlers was Repo Man.
Okay.
Yes. He was so off the wall. He would just go around repoing like
he just take stuff.
He just take stuff. So it would be something like outlandish like that. Like, I don't know. Like, I'd be like a plumber or something. I don't know. Just some stupid.
We're back to Super Mario Brothers.
I was going to say with red overalls.
There we go.
And a big mustache.
You could be Mario. Utah, you could be Luigi. You guys could be a tag team.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't give as much thought about it. I mean, I knew the question was coming and I didn't really think about it myself that much either. But the first song that kind of popped into my head that I think would be just like this awesome, like driving beat to walk into would be Enter Sandman, right? By Metallica. I could totally totally hear that. The problem is though, I would be a terrible like professional wrestler. And so I actually would probably be like, that would be my persona too, like the Sandman. And I would come in and I would be wearing like a, old, 1940s nightgown and a nightcap or something. And then I would come into the ring And like as soon as the bell rings, I would have like narcolepsy. You know what I mean? I would like fall asleep like in the middle of the ring, and they would just pin me. And it would be over. So it was like one of those foregone conclusion. You know, you always know who's going to win. They would only bring me in when they wanted, you know, to somebody.
They wanted a fixed fight.
Yeah, they wanted somebody who was going to be, you know, they're trying to get a new guy up and coming. Like, well, give him the Sandman. That's what we'll do.
So you picked the wrong Sandman song. Then you should be the other Sandman.
Yeah, but that's not as cool. That's not like I think
slow.
that's the funny is the driving energy, and then I'm terrible.
Oh yes, the juxtaposition. Got it. Right.
All right.
Oh God.
Let's get the show started. It's wonderful to have you both, but let's go ahead and get down to business. It's time for
This Week in Geek.
That's right. We're scraping through all the pop culture news of the past week. We curate it down to just a few things of import. Here's the top 5 things you should know.
Number 1.
All right, if you were a kid in 1983 with HBO, you without a doubt got a thrill. Whenever those bass lines came in and we followed Gobo the Fraggle down a cave into the crazy world of Fraggle Rock. I know you sung along with the theme song and it sticks in your head. It's very memorable, very nostalgic. Fraggle Rock, another genius brainchild of Muppets creator Jim Henson, and it became a beloved international favorite of a generation. Well, Apple TV has been showing some brand new 3 to 5 minute shorts for free since late April or so. And since that has happened, they've now announced that they are bringing the Fraggles back in a brand new show, Fraggle Rock, Rock On. All your favorites are back. Gobo, Moki, Wembley, Boober, Red, right? Even some of the original performers like Dave Goelz is coming back. He's the great Gonzo, as you know, from the Muppets. And with the news last week of the Muppets now coming to Disney Plus, and now this, it's like there's this new Henson renaissance, right? We had the Dark Crystal series come back. I mean, it's just really great to see all these things that he created coming back. And I am loving it. I was a huge fan of Fraggle Rock. I love that show. And in expectation of the new show, Apple also acquired the rights to the original series, which will allow them to include it on their platform, which is, I believe, their first real acquisition. Mostly Apple's been, launched with original programming.
Their own stuff, right?
And this is an acquisition that they're going to show all the original Fraggle Rocks as well as these new ones. So what do you think, Utah? Are you ready to dance your cares away?
I am ready to dance my cares away. When the original show first came on, I remember it was on HBO. We didn't have HBO, so I didn't catch on to Fraggle Rock until it somehow arrived on free TV. But I love the show. It's got one of the catchiest TV themes ever. And I found out it's only 3 chords, just FYI. I did watch a couple of the shorts that are on Apple TV, and they're great. One of the things that I love is that it's very, very familiar. It doesn't look like they changed anything about them, about the puppets themselves. The voices are spot on. I do sense, and this just might be my bad memory, I feel like the 2 shorts that I saw, the first 2, there seems to be a kind of sweetness to it. Not that there wasn't any sweetness or kindness in the original, but I felt like, from what I remember of the original, there was a lot of frenetic energy going on too. So there is a kind of a little excitement going on, and the 2 shorts that I watched, the 2 episodes, were very leaning heavily on sweetness and kindness, and it very much could be a product of the times that they were made and the times we're in now.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. You're right. It seems to be a Jim Henson Productions kind of renaissance, and I'm excited to see all of the Henson stuff. I can't wait. Yay for Apple.
What about you, Michael? Did you watch Fraggle Rock?
All right, so 2 things I got to say here. And one you're probably going to be really upset with. Number 1, HBO in 1983-84, I was not watching Fraggle Rock. I was watching at like 1 a.m. the little blurry lines to try and see. That was me back then. But I also have to say, Fraggle Rock, actually, I never really was a fan of Fraggle Rock. Like, I loved the Muppets. Like, Muppet Babies was my show. And I always kind of figured... Like, later I figured it was kind of like Friends and Seinfeld. Either, like, you loved one and hated the other. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
They were kind of the same thing, but you just either, you just preferred one over the other. So, yeah, the Muppets were always my thing. Fraggle Rock was, I couldn't really get into it. But I'm actually happy to see it coming back because, actually, exactly what Utah said, it is kind of like an innocence. It's almost like Sesame Street. It's so sweet. It's so lighthearted that I do think that we kind of need that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Fraggle Rock actually, coming back and having like a resurgence and then like a new generation coming and seeing it. I think that's important. So I'm happy to see it come back. Will I watch it? probably.
I hear
But
you.
I'm happy.
I hear you. And if you have kids, for sure, right? It's coming. I mean, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to, tune in every episode. I definitely will watch it just for the nostalgic aspect of it. But yeah, my kids are all older now, and they're not going to be into it. But
Right.
but you're right. And it was kind of a mix between the Muppets and Sesame Street. Fraggle Rock was kind of this middle ground, right? So it had a little bit of the zaniness of the Muppets, right? But it was still like educational and, always had like a moral or a lesson, which was more like Sesame Street. So it was kind of like this weird, somewhere in between though. It's funny. One of the things that producer Michael Frith said back in the day, I found this and I was doing some research. This is a quote from Michael Frith. Fraggle Rock's simple ambition was to open kids' eyes to the interconnectedness of all things and the unassailable fact that their own actions would have consequences. And you were right. There is no more time than right now that kids should be hearing that lesson. And I don't know that there's a lot of shows doing that as much anymore. You know what I mean?
I think shows actually, like cartoons, period, in the 80s and early 90s, that was their thing, was just message
Mm-hmm.
after message. It doesn't matter what episode it was. There was some sort of message in that episode. And yeah, cartoons nowadays lack that, man. Like, it's almost sad, but cartoons lack it.
That's true. I remember rushing home after school to see the whole Transformers G.I. Joe hour.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, I look back on it now, and they were obviously just 25-minute long commercials for the toys. Right?
Sure.
But
which we bought. We
which
line
worked.
and sinker.
It worked. I'm not denying that it worked. But yes, at the end of each episode, they always had a little moral lesson, right?
Yep.
It's always knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe,
Right.
Always something.
Awesome.
Yeah, they don't do that.
Before we move on, a little bit of trivia that's kind of interesting about Fraggles is, did you know that Fraggle Rock was HBO's first original series? So Tony Soprano and the Lannisters, Game of Thrones, they owe everything to a bunch of Fraggles. And the Lannister always pays his debts. So, and maybe that's what's happening now. They're getting a resurgence because.
You know what that means? That means a Lannister has to guest spot on the new Fraggle Rock.
That could be interesting.
I kind of want to see a parody done of like Fraggle Rock done, but with Game of Thrones, or Game of Thrones done with Fraggle Rock characters. Like, that would be awesome.
Fraggle.
Well, Sesame Street has done it. Google it. Sesame Street did it. It was
That's
great.
right.
What?
Sesame Street did do a Game of Thrones
and
parody.
it's fantastic. So
yes, it's
check
hilarious.
it out.
Number 2.
We're staying in the kids-oriented realm just a little bit. It was a good week for kid geeks, I got to say. So I'll be watching and wishing I was a kid again, this new show. It's a Star Wars show premiering on YouTube, of all places. It's called Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge.
For generations, the Jedi Order have been the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy. Now, Padawan teams must endure 3 challenging rounds of Jedi trials to become Jedi Knights.
Go, 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 go!
From the strength trials on a distant world
Keep going,
to the knowledge trials aboard a Jedi Star Cruiser. Your answer is correct.
Yes.
Only one team will have what it takes to enter the Jedi Temple.
Use the Force, use the Force!
Face the mysteries inside
Here's the circle plug.
and prove their bravery to become Jedi Knights.
You got this. I believe in you. Go, 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 hurry. Push in this red. Push in this red.
Will the Padawans be tempted by the dark side? Or keep their minds focused on the light side of the Force?
May the Force be with you always.
Now, there's only one thing for you to do.
This is my favorite part.
Punch it! Don't give up!
Trust in the Force.
By the right of the Council, by the will of the Force,
Yeah!
it's time to face your Jedi Temple Challenge.
So imagine, if you will, Legends of the Hidden Jedi Temple. It's a kids game show set in a galaxy far, far away. I just want to know, where was this when I was a kid? I think I'd have peed a little in my 12-year-old pants when Yoda's voice comes out of the mists there. I don't know.
Okay, yes. All right. That was pretty cool.
Now I'm only fit to be crotchety old hermit Luke, right? Because, with the quarantine beard going on, maybe they'll let me walk up to one of the kids, take a lightsaber and fling it off stage.
Throw it.
I just want to be I just want to be involved. I just want to be part of it. Can they?
I just don't know. I just had a vision of like you drinking milk and it's just running down your beard.
It's just running down his beard.
And the kids are horrified. They're like, what is happening? Get us off this show.
Parents are covering the kids' eyes.
Anyway, it's hosted by Ahmed Best, which is phenomenal. I love to see this guy getting some Star Wars love. If anybody deserves it, it's Ahmed Best.
He deserves it.
But this is going to be fun, I think. No, Michael, I just have one question. How do we get them to make an adult one? What do you think?
Oh, dude, listen. I love being a Jedi. Like every Christmas now, I still take like empty Christmas wrapping tube paper and just use it like a weapon.
Awesome.
But if I was to go on a show, like the first thing I want to do, and it sounds sick, but hey, I want to kill some younglings, man. Like I just want to slaughter. I also want to go to the Jedi Temple and just slaughter some younglings.
That is the path to the dark side.
Hey, listen, but it was Anakin looked like he had fun. That's all I'm saying.
We're learning so many things about you today. We're in a whole different picture of Michael Knightmage Wilson tonight. I'm kidding.
The show. I mean, no. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Like anything Jedi, anything Star Wars related, I'm excited for. Yeah, man, that looks like it's going to be cool.
It could be fun. I didn't find any news. I should have looked this up, but isn't it odd that it's on YouTube? Why wouldn't that be on Disney Plus? It's very strange.
I think I remember hearing about this back at Celebration in Chicago, and I think originally they had planned it for Disney Plus. So I honestly don't know why it's premiering on YouTube now. I'm curious to see what may have happened between then, where it was part of the Disney Plus kind of wheelhouse, and now it's on YouTube. I don't know if they're thinking because it's free, it'll be a broader audience, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they probably want to gather people in first to gauge the,
hook them.
Hook
and then
them.
say, hey, come over to Disney Plus.
Exactly. Yeah.
Probably true.
So, we mentioned this last week. Disney Plus has my first son anyway, so I mean, I'm there.
Isn't your firstborn son like how he's like 16 now, right?
I think he's 16. I don't know. I haven't seen him in a year. Disney Plus
Ever
took him
since
away
you got Disney
last
Plus.
year. Exactly right. Yeah, I prepaid.
I think it's
Looks
going to be
like
a lot
good
of
show.
fun. Again, it's one of those things that I just wish some of this stuff had come out when I was a kid nerd instead of an adult nerd,
Why don't
because
they have
I
a
totally would have been all over something like this.
They need to have like a Jedi Challenge wipeout show,
Right.
for adults.
Oh man,
Right.
that would be awesome.
There we go.
I also want. Well, I will say this real quick. I want to know the backstory of the droids on this Jedi Challenge show, because
there's a couple droids.
there are a couple droids there.
It's a C-3PO. It's not C-3PO, but it's like
Right, but it's another humanoid,
sort of humanoid,
protocol
and then
droid-like.
an
and then
astromech.
it looks like an R5 or something.
I think so.
Number 3.
All right, it's kind of a follow-up to our discussion last week where we discussed the state of movie theaters. We talked about AMC's potential bankruptcy, and now it looks like things are starting to right themselves there. Actually, analysts have upgraded their stock due to reduced risk of bankruptcy now, which makes you wonder what that means for the talks Amazon was in as far as purchasing the troubled theater chain. But it may be good news for moviegoers, especially since it seems like, economies are starting to open up again around the world, and a lot of movie theaters were not going to open again until they had something to show. And they were even talking about bringing Endgame and other, like big blockbusters back to try to get people into theaters. But personally, I'm excited about Christopher Nolan's new film, Tenet, right?
Oh, Tenet.
It's scheduled to come out on July 17th, and that might be the first big movie back on the big screens. So some theaters are already opening around the country. Some are doing only a 4-day weekend opening, and they're closed during the other days. So, they start on a premiere Thursday and go through Sunday, and then they're going to power clean everything during those other days. And then
have to.
And then, they're going to take measures to promote. They should power clean those anyway. They're disgusting, right? And
They should.
They are.
That's without the coronavirus, but they're going to take measures to promote social distancing, such as plexiglass between concession and customers, like you're seeing everywhere now. And they're presumably not going to sell out the theaters, right? They're actually going to leave spaces between the seats, which I wish they have always done, right? This again, even pre-coronavirus, I would love to have spaces between the seats. Give me some room, people. But I don't know, Utah, are these measures enough to get you to go see Tenet with me in July? I'm still deciding. I don't know.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm still deciding. Come July, we learned. I said this last week. We learn so much every day about what's going on about this virus and what seems safe and what doesn't. And so, next week there could be a study with data that shows that, it's this social distancing and reopening stuff is okay and should be enough. And if that's the case, I'm all for seeing Nolan's Tenet. I'm replaying the trailer forwards and backwards, trying to figure out what the heck is going on.
Yeah, it looks crazy. I mean,
it looks fantastic.
And I thought Inception was hard to follow, but
right. It definitely looks like something that would really take advantage of the movie theater experience, the big screen and the big sound, right? But I don't know. July, maybe the way things are going, maybe.
Michael, what would it take to get you back in the theater?
So to be honest with you, that definitely. So I don't have to take out a bank loan just to get some popcorn. Actually, right now, I would go. If I used to go to movies really only for like the Marvel comic book movies and stuff like that. I love being in the theater with that type of energy.
Sure.
For like Endgame and just like any kind of like premiere opening. So that was the only time I really went to the movies. But anything Christopher Nolan, I'm there for too. Like, yeah, I think that drive-ins are actually going to make a resurgence.
They already are.
Yeah, right. Obviously now, like with the streaming, that's going to be a hotspot. So I hate to say it, but I think going to the movie theater, having that theater experience with people is going to be a thing of the past very, 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 very soon. And that sucks because I love doing the theater experience with people, but I think just because of this, and I don't know, the times are changing, and with technology, it's just easier and more convenient for people to stay at home. And
true, I think you're right. I think at the very least, the movie theater experience is going to be different, and whether that's and that's not even just taking into account not selling at the theaters and power cleaning everything and all that stuff, but I feel like they were already trying to add like value added stuff. Here's a bar so you can buy drinks before your movie. Right. Here's a bigger arcade. Hey, look, we have a coffee shop and gourmet stuff. I feel like they're going to have to put more value added and extraneous things to bring people back to the theater to see that movie. But you're right. It'll be very interesting to see how the movie theater chains survive this, because they're already on rocky ground. I'm glad to hear that AMC got upgraded, but it's still iffy, right?
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Number 4.
Last week, the big news was the release of the Snyder Cut, the long-rumored, long-hashtagged, long-sought-after cut of the film Zack Snyder set out to make when he took reins of Justice League, but had to step aside because of a personal tragedy. Well, now Warner Brothers is floating him $20 million to finish his allegedly 4+ hour epic. And that's now got the geek world scrambling. What other films are out there with insert director name here cuts of? Oh boy, here come more hashtags. So
a handful.
Allegedly there's a Feige cut of Ghostbusters. There is supposedly a Trank cut of Fantastic Four.
No.
Ayers says there's an Ayers
Squad
cut of Suicide Squad. And now fans are even asking for a Simon Kinberg Dark Phoenix cut, which I'm sorry, Simon Kinberg had 2 chances to tell that story and blew it both times. I don't want to see it anymore. And I love Simon Kinberg. Please, I love all the other stuff that he's involved in. I mean, the guy's behind Star Wars Rebels with Filoni. So, I mean, the guy does other things, but no, he has told the Phoenix story twice and blown it both times. And I'm sorry, I'm not ready for any more of his takes on that. You notice there are always cuts of films that did poorly, right? But what director of a terribly received film wouldn't want $20 million to basically try again, right? But Snyder had a true reason he couldn't finish, right?
Tommy Wiseau.
Right. A remake of The Room. That would be very interesting.
I want the Wiseau cut of The Room.
Yeah, well, we basically got it with
with the disaster.
Seth Rogen and
James
Franco, right? I mean, basically did, and it was that was actually pretty good, that movie.
It was funny. It was good.
All right, but Snyder basically had a true reason he couldn't finish his vision. They didn't make it. But unless Trank's vision completely replaced everything that did make it in the film, how much better can it be? We're talking about Fantastic Four, right? I mean, the rest of the movie was what I had a problem with. I don't know what was on the cutting room floor, but if it was anything like this, I don't want it. And Ghostbusters, okay, slightly interested because the extended cut of that film actually fixed a few
Made
things.
it better.
It was a little bit better, but it was still not great, right? But it was improved when we saw more of it. And Ayers with Suicide Squad, I'm just not a fan of Club Kid Joker. So, and that's not because of Leto's performance. I thought he was a good like actor of the Joker, but I just couldn't buy into the look for some reason. That was my biggest problem with it. But I actually liked Suicide Squad. I don't necessarily need another one. I thought it was fun. I was entertained by it. And I mean, it wasn't great, right? It's not, this isn't like, but I mean, I liked it more than Batman versus Superman. You know what I'm saying? I liked it more than Justice League. I'm just saying, like, I'm like, these are the movies that DC made that I actually enjoyed. So let's not do that. But what do you guys think about some of these takes? Do you want to see an Ayers cut? Are you interested in see what Trank had on the cutting room floor?
I was afraid that something like this would happen, where all of a sudden either other directors or fans would start clamoring for, well, if our quote movement or hashtag brought in a director's cut that we want to see, then what other movies are there where there are probably different other versions and other cuts, and will these directors jump in on it? I'm not that excited about the Snyder cut of Justice League. I'll see, I'll definitely want to see it, but I'm not like super excited it's going to be that much better of a movie. And I kind of feel the same way about everybody else that's been mentioned. At what point does it become sort of George Lucas messing around with special editions?
Yep.
And, at what point does it matter when it's released, and is it ever finished? I don't know. I feel like this could go down a slippery slope that I just don't want to go down.
What do you think, Michael?
I actually I agree with that. I think the reason why the Snyder cut is so popular and everyone kind of wants to see it is because initially it was supposed to be a part of a bigger universe. So seeing what he was doing to build upon that universe, adding Green Lantern, adding Martian Manhunter, showing Darkseid, people want to see that because now you can kind of fill in the blanks and imagine what the universe is going to be like in the future. If it ever gets there, or even if it doesn't get there. But stuff like Ghostbusters and Fantastic Four, they're just one-offs. You're not really, it's just that. Mm-hmm. That's it. You know what I mean? Right. So you're not really, you're not getting anything extra to kind of look forward to or imagine, well, what if? But with Snyder, I think that's the interesting part, is saying like, oh man, like seeing Martian Manhunter, like imagine if we would have got like 3 more movies, and then that's the interesting part.
And that actually leads us right into
number 5.
With the resurgence of Justice League and Snyder's vision, Warner Brothers and DC seem to have had a change of heart with Henry Cavill. After initially all the news reports months back were that they definitely parted ways and Cavill was done being Superman, this past week, every pop culture news site on the planet was talking about Cavill coming back. Likely he'll be back for any reshoot Snyder does, but he may also be Superman in other films. There doesn't appear to be a Man of Steel 2 in the works, but there's Shazam 2 is coming out, maybe Aquaman 2. He was actually supposed to be in the final cafeteria scene of Shazam. Do you guys remember that? But they did a shot where you couldn't see Soup's face. Instead, it was from like the neck down, which maybe is what Whedon should have done in his version of Justice League instead of CGIing the mustache, right? Just only show Superman from the back or from the neck down, or always having like floating debris in the way of his face.
Mustache?
I don't know. I for one, I like Cavill, but in fact, I've had no problems with any of the casting in these films. Batfleck, I actually thought that was great casting. It's the films themselves that have been duds, not for a lack of effort from these actors. So if Henry's back as Superman, I say bring it on. What do you guys think?
Man, listen, he ain't my Superman. He ain't Christopher Reeve.
No, well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm with you there. I mean, I think he's done a fine job as Superman, but Christopher Reeve is always going to be Superman for me. Yeah. Yeah,
Christopher Reeve is always going to be my Superman. Like,
sure.
Yeah. Yes. But with Henry, honestly, I agree with you. Like, I think he fits the role great. He's a great actor. He has the look. Everything. It's just it's been the script, and it's just been that director's vision that's been bad. But him coming back as Superman, actually that kind of excites me.
No, I'm with you. I've never had an issue with Henry Cavill's casting as Superman, and in Man of Steel, I thought he did a great job. Actually, in all the movies, I thought he did a great job as being Superman. And when I heard that they had cut ties with him, I was kind of disappointed because I enjoyed his performances as Superman and Clark Kent, and his chemistry with Lois, with Amy, was also very good. Some of the best parts of those movies were them two together. I think that he's going to be doing the Nick Fury thing. I think he's going to be the Sam Jackson of the DC universe. He's just going to pop up here and there. I don't think
tie the worlds together, basically.
He's going to be the common. Like maybe he's more like Coulson then. I don't know. Yeah. But he's going to be small roles and cameos here and there, to just trying to keep everything together.
The problem with Superman in that type of role is that he's way too powerful to have cameos. It's almost like, you have these catastrophes happening. It's like, dude, where were you at? Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He has to be everywhere.
It's hard. Yeah, it's weird.
Then you run into like that Avengers problem where like, well, where was Thor when all this was going on?
Yeah, well, I feel like the same thing will happen when they finally introduce the X-Men to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like, guys, you could have helped us. We're going to use some mutants a few months back when the whole world was about to end. What are you guys doing? Well, I got to say, we're gonna take a break. That's our top 5 this week in Geek. We're gonna take a quick break for some sponsor talk, but we'll be back and talking with Michael Knightmage Wilson in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. All right. Hey, everyone. Again, we're only 2 episodes in, so no sponsors yet. Haven't even been seeking them, really, but we're wide open to work with someone who has a heart for geek culture like we do, so spread the word. But if you do like what you hear and you want to help us offset some of the costs of keeping this content coming every week, you can support us through our Patreon creator account. So we've got some tiers over there starting as low as like $2 a month. And your support will be used to help pay for hosting and other costs associated with doing a regular podcast. And we've got some fun recognition and some swag for folks willing to jump into some of the higher tiers. But we hope you'll listen, because that's the best support you can give. Listen, spread the word, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Definitely do those things. But if you wanted to, you can do that at patreon.com/worldgonegeek. Thanks again. All right, we're back. And now we're finally going to take a moment to just kind of get personal, get one-on-one, get up close and personal.
Or at least within 6 feet.
but still with 6 feet distance, social distance between us. And get to know, who is Michael Knightmage Wilson?
You don't want to know that.
Well, I mean, we know. So I really would like to start from the beginning. So where were you born?
So, I swear, if you ask for my social security number, we're done.
All right. No, seriously though. Tell me, tell me who was Little Mage? Like, what was Little Mage like? When did you first realize, wow, I'm kind of a geek and I'm into this stuff. This is who I am. What would you say is your earliest geek memory?
You know what? Actually, I have to contribute it to my brother. So my older brother, he's a fantastic artist, and I used to watch him draw. And I used to watch him draw like Marvel characters, and I didn't read any of the comics or anything like that, but I loved his art. And so I used to take his art to school and pretend like I drew him. Like, everyone knew I was lying. But I used to watch him draw, and then I started getting into the comics that he was reading. And then I remember one of the first things I got into was Ninja Turtles. And this was back when, it was the black and white comic Ninja Turtles. Like, they were
so not even the TV show. You started with the comics. That's great.
Yeah, man.
That's
and
legit.
Then I remember the TV show coming on. And I remember seeing it in the TV guide, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
What is this?
And I was like, oh my God.
Nothing like that.
I was so excited to tell my brother. I was like, look, like it's a TV show. And so we, came home from school one day and watched it. He was so mad. I loved it. But he was so upset because, obviously it wasn't like the comics. But that was my first introduction into the kind of geek culture is my brother. Obviously, like video games, I was always into, but as far as like comics and TV shows and cartoons and stuff, yeah, my brother.
And so, and then eventually, you got to the point where you decided you were going to start dressing up like some of these characters. Tell us how that started.
So I actually always loved Halloween. Like Halloween,
I was about to say one Halloween.
Yeah. like the one Halloween I remember, and I think everyone probably had an experience like this because back then the costumes at Halloween shops were like those like really hot like
Plastic.
plastic masks and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was oh my god, I was Gizmo one year.
No way.
Whoa.
And dude, that costume was so hot. I ended up getting a bloody nose in our little Halloween parade. It was terrible. But yeah, I just love dressing up. And one Halloween, 2011, I wanted to be Green Lantern, John Stewart.
Nice.
And no, that wasn't a costume really you could find at any kind of Halloween shop. So my girlfriend helped me sew it together, and I very crudely sewed it together. Went out to the bars and had fun. And then a little bit after that, I got asked to do a charity event because I had the superhero costume. So I did the charity event, and then it snowballed where I just started doing more and more charity events. And then I started doing conventions. Like, I knew of conventions, I just didn't know. I never really had access to them, you know. But I went to my very first convention at the end of 2012, and dude, as soon as I walked on the floor, I was like, "Oh my god! Like, I'm with my people.
Yeah.
This is amazing."
It's like coming home,
like,
right?
yeah.
And then he
it's-
realized he was with his tribe.
and that's it. And I've just been addicted ever since. And yeah, it's my passion.
So Green Lantern was your first official kind of cosplay style costume, would you say?
Yeah. To be fair with the Green Lantern, I wanted to be Guy Gardner. I always have loved Guy Gardner.
Okay.
Only when he had the yellow ring.
Right.
That's it. But at the time, I didn't know if it was going to be socially acceptable for me to be a traditionally seen white character.
Interesting.
So I chose my second favorite Green Lantern, which is John Stewart. So now that I'm in the cosplay community, I see what it's about, and I know that, man, I should have done Guy Gardner. I could do Guy Gardner all day long. But back then I had no idea. But yeah, now totally different idea. But so my second costume was actually Spider-Man. Actually, I bought a Spider-Man outfit, and I figured that was okay because I have my face covered, so it's fine, right?
Yeah.
And then that's when I kind of discovered the cosplay community, and then I made a Batman costume, and that was the first costume I wore to a convention.
I find it fascinating that you were concerned about whether or not you would be accepted by playing someone outside of your race. Because,
right, that you were.
I mean,
you were aware
and
about
because
that so
now,
early.
and I know for a fact that your Batman has been hugely inspiring to a lot of kids who see you and think I could be Batman, right?
Right, and that was the thing. It was like when I first started, I didn't know any better. So that's why I'm really, really adamant about people who want to get into cosplayers through like their first convention ever, that they really do like leave knowing that, man, sky's the limit. Like, honestly, cosplaying and is nothing but your fan art of this character. So I want you to pretend like this character is going to be a representation of you, and my job is to make you believe that character always looked like me. So just sky's the limit. Just do it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna butter you up a little bit. I mean, that's one of the things that I love about you as a cosplayer. You're kind of a celebrity in the cosplay world. You're you know what I mean. I know you're too humble to admit that, but people know who you are, and you've got a pretty good following. But you've always had this positive message, body positivity, diversity. It doesn't matter. Like, and you don't always do your costume exactly like the character. It's sometimes you add your own little creative touches. It's like, this is my version of this character. This is the way I see it, and how it would, how I embody that character. And I love that. And I think it's a lesson that even some veteran cosplayers still need to hear and learn, because there's some people out there who can look down on other folks, and there's different things like that. But your message is so great, and that's why I want to be able to get that out. I know the first time I met you was at a Comic-Con here in Cleveland, a little small one. It was just in a hotel lobby mostly. And I was promoting Extra Life at the time, and you were at the table next to me, and you walked up in that Spawn costume, and I nearly
One of my
peed my
favorites.
pants. I'm not even joking. I was such a huge fan of Spawn, right? Todd McFarlane, you know, I loved his run in Spider-Man, and then when he did Spawn, I was a huge fan. And when you walked up in that, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is really Spawn. The costume is so good, and you guys can find pictures of this on it. He's got them on his Facebook page and things like that. But it's amazing. And I'm sitting next to you doing, you know, Extra Life, and I was like, I'm not going to cosplay. It's not really my thing. My kids like to do it. I've done a couple since then, but at that time I decided, since my beard was kind of growing out a little bit and my hair was a little longer, is I kind of spiked my hair up a little bit on the sides, and then I shaved the center of my face so I could be like Hugh Jackman, you know what I mean, kind of look. Yeah. Although I'm definitely not built like Hugh Jackman, let's face it. And then I wore some dog tags, and I had like a white t-shirt, and then like the lumberjack type of shirt or whatever. It was just for fun. It was kind of like a casual cosplay. You know what I mean? I wasn't like really trying. I was just like, this is suggesting Wolverine, and here we go. And you were like, Wolverine, and you're like, and you were praising that and making me feel good. I'm just like, no, I'm just doing this to, you know, I wouldn't really, I'm not really cosplaying. I'm just, you know, I'm trying to be, but you were so positive and just kind of made me, I'm like, all right, yeah, I can be Wolverine. Why not? Right. And so I've always remembered that. And that's one of the reasons that I really appreciate you. And while I'm at a charity table right next to you, you're raising money. I forget what it was for, probably Make-A-Wish or one of those, with your prints. And so everything that you do in cosplay is for charity pretty much, right?
Like I said, the charity aspect is kind of how I started. So it got to a point where I was doing charity events, and then I started getting invited to do conventions. And I got to a point where, you know, I would get asked to go to a convention in California, but I had a charity event coming up. And it's like, well, how do I choose those opportunities? Like, I get to, you know, go to California and do this, but I got to do this charity event. So I figured, all right, well, why not try and combine the two? So what I started doing was, wherever I go, I raise money for a local charity, just for like signing autographs and my prints and stuff. I just give them away for free and just raise money for that local charity. So it's like, it's the best of both worlds. I get to have fun and dress up, but be able to use it and be able to give back too. So it's a win-win.
That's great.
I said I was going to add on to your Wolverine story.
Okay, add on.
So yeah, it was like, your Wolverine, man. Think about it. We just talked about Henry Cavill and how I love Christopher Reeve and you love Christopher Reeve. If you take any character, you take Superman, you take Wolverine, you take Batman. Well, maybe not Wolverine, is like Hugh Jackman's got like, yeah, he's
played it for so long and played it so well. Yeah, right. It's tough.
But you take any character, depending on the actor, the director, the artist, it doesn't matter. That character's been seen 20 million different ways. So how come, you know, you can't be Wolverine from Earth number 298?
Right.
Fair where point. You're, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Where he spends a little too much time at Wendy's drive-thrus and
yeah.
Right, it's Homer Logan.
There you go.
It's Homer Logan.
Snick. No.
Oh, that's brilliant.
We lost Michael.
I want to see that now.
Somebody should do that. I love those mashup costumes too. Those are the best. You know, where people put stuff together, right?
Done. It has to have been done. I mean, the cosplay community is so creative. And yeah, I'm being quiet most of the time here because I'm just really just kind of fanboying because Michael, everything that you've done, I've followed you for a while. We've met once or twice before, and everything that you do, it's for charity. Your costumes are fantastic. The positivity you send out into the world is a blessing, and so I'm just sitting here kind of fanboying. So I'm just gonna sit back from my mic now and just
make me blush.
Well,
and I was just gonna say, like the pictures that I had posted of our past encounters are some of my favorites. Your Kratos and your Scorpion.
Oh yeah, those are great.
Thank you.
One of the other things that you're kind of known for cosplay is, well, one, you make them all yourself. and you post some of your progress on Facebook, which is always kind of interesting. And then to see like how you went from idea and a couple of pieces of foam into this massive costume. But you're very much about budget cosplaying, right? Like you don't spend a lot of money. You find ways to make and reuse a lot of stuff to make these costumes. Tell us a little bit about that, like that process.
Yes, it kind of started because, again, when I first started cosplaying, I didn't know anything about it, so I was, I was spending buku money on stuff, and it was a Judge Dredd group, and I had got recruited to do it, and they were doing like replica costumes of the Dredd costume, which is amazing. I love that modern version of Dredd. So they were doing replica versions, and just like the bodysuit alone was like $400 or $500.
Wow!
Wow. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, man, I plan on doing this for like a while, and I love going to conventions, but I don't want to drop that type of cash. And like, if people can do it and we want to do it, awesome. But it's just not for me. So, that's when I kind of set it in my head that like if I'm going to do this, I kind of got to do it on my terms. So I set the budget at $200. If I can't make it, modify it, whatever for $200 or less, then I'm not doing it. And that's when I had to start thinking outside the box and start realizing that, it's not necessarily about the materials that you use. It's the creativity that you put with it to, make it look awesome. A $5, item can look like $100 if you wanted to. So, and honestly, look at, WWE, like half of their costumes and props, cardboard and foam and stuff like
you
that.
Find at the store.
Exactly. Yeah. Hollywood, same thing. Like half the items that they make is throwaway items. And so that's kind of the idea that I had to go with. So I really want to show that like anyone can do this, and it can be expensive if you want it to be, and that's fine, but it doesn't have to be.
No, and your results speak for themselves. I mean, the costumes look spectacular, and no one would know by seeing them in person that you just had stuff from the house or from the store, and you went ahead and modified and created that costume. The quality is outstanding.
Thank you.
One of the things that's sticking in my mind is for Candyman. What did you use for the?
So I smell delicious, let me tell you. So Candyman, so for like the bees and a lot of the maggots, I use Cheerios.
Yes, that's right.
And
that's crazy.
Yeah,
and it looked great.
Cheerios with some hot glue on it, and then a little bit of airbrushing and some fake blood and stuff. Man, it looks real. It looks great. And like I said, I smell delicious.
So you use a honey oat Cheerios then?
I did.
Now you've also received some feedback because Todd McFarlane actually has seen your Spawn, right? Didn't you get a chance to?
Yeah, that was like the first costume I did that kind of went viral. And I remember to this day, I was driving home from Cleveland, and I was on 422, and my phone went off, and I looked at it, and it said Todd McFarlane, and I swerved, and then ended up pulling over, and he actually commented on the post of my Spawn. He's just like, awesome work, and I just pooped myself. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, right.
And then so I actually ended up getting to meet him a year later at New York Comic Con, and I wore my Spawn. I had him sign a couple of my prints actually, and then I gave him a couple of prints, and it was awesome. But he came up to me and he gave me this hug, and he went to go hug me.
Oh no!
And,
did he break something?
Well, no, he didn't break. He ended up stabbing himself.
Oh no!
The spikes I used on my costume were cake icing tips.
Oh yeah.
And so they're actually still kind of sharp. And he's like, "Oh my god, ow!" I was like, "Dude, like you created me. You should know better. Like, what are you doing?"
Nice.
But he was awesome. He was very humble. He's the type of guy, he loves to meet his fans. He's awesome.
That's great. Before we wrap this up, I have one more question. This is really going to put you on the spot because I know that this is probably going to be really hard for you to answer. But well, first of all, tell us how many costumes you have made.
So actually, I probably will be finishing Serpentor tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's going to be like 221.
Crazy.
Wow.
So of those 221 costumes, which is your favorite one to inhabit? Like just to be,
okay.
right? Like not the one that you like
Right,
the
not
most,
just to wear, but
yeah,
to be,
it's just like when you put that on, you're like, this is me. This is what I want to do.
Okay. All right, I got a couple different answers. That's actually a good one. That's like very specific. That's good. So I would say actually to be, because I just feel like a badass, probably either Kratos or Hellboy.
Nice.
I would say actually to embody, obviously just the Grinch. Like I love.
That's fun.
Like, there's something when I put on the Grinch, and I can just be a total jerk to everyone, and everyone loves it. It's just
Are we
so
seeing
much
the
fun.
real Michael now? Do we just all this charity and all this, wonderful things that we've and all this praise we've heaped upon you, and deep down you just want to kill younglings and be an absolute.
His heart is 3 sizes too small.
I know what you mean, though.
The villains have more.
They sure
fun.
do. You're right.
It is true.
Yeah, it's true. There's no arguing with that.
All right. Thank you so much for being on the show. We got one more segment we're going to do real quick, and then we're going to say goodbye.
It's time for the 90-second Geek Rant.
That's right. It's time on the show we do our 90-second Geek Rant, a time when we turn the show over to you, the listener, and let you get your say. Again, we just started, so we're still getting the word out. So we don't have a 90-second Geek Rant this week, but because, again, I'm just using the show to let people know that we're doing it, and eventually, as we get more listeners, people will call in. But if you'd like to be heard on a future episode of The Podcast is Real with World Gone Geek, please share your thoughts, complaints, praise, annoyance, whatever, about the world of pop culture, and we might use your rant on a future episode of the show. You got to keep it to 90 seconds and keep it clean. Share your rant at speakpipe.com/WorldGoneGeek. Now, we'll put that in the show notes. That's our show for this week. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to my dear friend Utah for joining me faithfully once again as we traverse this podcasting world. Utah, do you got anything you want to pitch this week? You want to tell them about your YouTube channel again?
Oh, sure. So yeah, started a YouTube channel, Utah and the Uke. I'm doing a daily ukulele cover of various songs and requests because I need to keep my sanity while I'm quarantined.
Awesome. So check that out, and also on Twitter at Kohyuta, Kohyuta, right?
Yes. Correct.
All right.
All the social media platforms.
There you go. And of course, humblest thanks to you, Michael, for taking the time to be a part of this show. It's truly great to have you. I hope you enjoyed it. We'd love to have you back in the future, so we'll be in touch. Do you have anything? You don't have a con scheduled or anything, do you?
Right. I have nothing going on for the rest of the year, so just come visit me on Facebook.
Knightmage on
go.
Facebook. You on Twitter? Any others? Instagram? Any of those?
Yeah. Knightmage on Twitter, Knightmage, and then Instagram, Knightmage1.
Awesome. Thanks to you, the listeners, for tuning in again. Be sure to tell your friends, spread the word, help us turn the whole world geek. Subscribe today so you don't miss a single episode, and please, you can really help us by leaving a review on your favorite podcast app, especially Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And of course, check out the website where we post geek, satire, and parody news, making fun of ourselves a little bit. Fake news for fun and entertainment at worldgonegeek.com. You can also get social with us at facebook.com/worldgonegeek and Twitter and Instagram at worldgonegeek. And if you'd like to support the show, look into becoming a patron through patreon.com/worldgonegeek. Make sure to join us next week when on the panel we'll be joined by Matt Shigarrick, co-host of Promptly Written, a podcast where every month he and author Ian Lewis each write a short story based on a crowd-sourced writing prompt. Matt will be here to discuss the top pop culture news with us. See you guys next time.
The Podcast is Real is a World Gone Geek production.